You're tuned in to New Connection Radio, featuring new releases for conscious living. I'm your host, Vicki Thompson. Today I'd like to welcome to New Connection Radio Dr. Judith Orloff, who is the author of The Ecstasy of Surrender, 12 Surprising Ways Letting Go Can Empower Your Life. Dr. Orloff, welcome to New Connection Radio.
Thank you.
You're a professor of psychiatry at UCLA, but you're also a physical empath. Can you tell us what is a physical empath and how has that contributed to your path of surrender?
So I talk about what it is to be a physical empath in the book, and the reason that it's so important to me is that I am a physical empath, and I know a lot of other people who are developing their spirituality and intuition and are opening to yoga and energy are also physical empaths. And what that means is that not only do I sense what's going on in other people, I can actually absorb it into my own body. So I can feel if somebody is having pain or if they're anxious or if they're angry or if they're joyous and positive and loving. I could feel all of it in my body as a result of my energy fields. But the problem is I can take it into my body and become exhausted or ill from it or just feel terrible from it. And so the message in the book that I wanted to get across is that there are specific strategies that you can use to not do that, where you can keep your empathy open and beautiful and so you can experience passion in the world, but at the same time you don't take on other people's symptoms. And empathic illnesses is a section in the book, and people need to know about this because sometimes empaths who are not diagnosed can have all kinds of symptoms that are diagnosed as mystery symptoms, or you're diagnosed as a hypochondriac or a malingerer, where really you're absorbing the symptoms of other people around you. And so because I've had to work with that so much in myself as a psychiatrist, as a woman, so I don't get tired, I find that it's very important to teach this to others too so they could surrender old habits of dealing with illness or negativity and energy, and they could be more robust and happy with empathy.
So why should we surrender? What is the advantage of going beyond your comfort zone?
Well, surrender is often thought of as defeat or weakness or failure, but the reason I wanted to write this book was to prove that it was something very different, and it is a secret weapon to health and wellness and success and intimacy. Surrender is the ability to know when to go forward with the flow of your life and when to hang back, what people to move towards, what people to be magnetized towards, and what people to not surrender to. So it's being in touch with the flow of life and being very mindful about what you do so that it's not just from ego or will, which I want what I want when I want it, but really tuning into the intuition of flow so that you can be in the zone. Surrender puts you in the zone, like athletes are in the zone where they're just functioning on a higher level of flow. And that's what I wanted to teach people how to do with this book.
So you have a wonderful quiz on your website about surrender, and you talk about, different ways that you're surrendering. How do you find the right balance of surrendering or asserting your control?
Well, it's a fine balance. That's the art of surrender and the art of living, where you tune into your body, you listen. It's now the time to go for it. It's now the time to make phone calls. It's now the time to push my business ahead. It's now the time to reach out to a relationship or not. But using your intuition, that still small voice inside that will tell you the truth about things, whether to move forward or whether to go back. And then you'll know. It's about sensing into life, instead of just living up in your head all the time and making decisions that are just linear or mental.
So when you're sensing into your body, where do you feel it in your body where you know, I need to just step back for a moment or pause?
Well, I feel it in my solar plexus, the emotional energy center, where I'm pushing forward, but it feels like I'm hitting a brick wall, or the universe is not supporting my vision, or I'm trying very hard and getting exhausted, but nothing much is happening. These are all signs for me to let go and kind of take a few steps backward rather than keep pushing. One thing people have to realize is that as much as you might want to control everything, it's impossible. You can't control everything. And when you find that you're pushing too hard and nothing is happening, that's really a great time to take a breath, get some perspective and not keep pushing or sabotage yourself so you alienate people.
So when you're having difficulties with someone you care about, that's when you want to control the situation. What steps can you take to surrender and heal the relationship instead?
One thing, don't interrupt somebody. It's very irritating when you interrupt. And a lot of times when charged issues are going back and forth, people tend to interrupt, and that just sabotages the whole discussion. So you have to hear the person out, as difficult as it may be to hear what they have to say, as wrong as you might think they are. Listen. And that's the way of surrendering your anxiety and need to respond immediately. And also, a big relationship tool is surrendering the need to be right. Oftentimes I've seen with my patients that they might even be right, but it won't serve the relationship. Let the other person be right sometimes. It makes people so happy when you let them be right. Now just try it. I mean, it's like very magical because people want to be affirmed. And so surrender resentment, surrender the need to be right all the time, have some humor, get in touch with the basic love you feel for the person, and keep in mind your overall goal with the person, not just this one point, as you might win the point and lose the relationship.
Mm-hmm. Well, you talk about in your book, you have the 12 steps that you can take to surrender, and one of the steps is redefining true success and happiness. Can you share how you can do that?
Yes. Well, true success and happiness starts from the inside, and then you can work it to the outside. You know, many of my patients, I'm a psychiatrist in Los Angeles, and I have a lot of Hollywood clients, and people focus on their outer careers but don't do the inner work. And so you start with aligning your heart with your purpose. That's so important, rather than just going for, quote, external success, because there's research been done on the happiness set point. Can we raise our happiness set point so that more things make us happy? And the only way we can do that is through meditation, through positive thinking, through being of service, all of that. I mean, even if you win the lottery, it's been proven that your happiness only lasts a certain amount of time, and then you go back to your same old level of misery because any external fix won't work. And so you have to surrender the idea that money, external success, or relationship, anything, is going to fix you unless you do the inner work first, unless you open your heart, unless you work on your own issues and remove any barricades to love. Nothing's going to work. And I know that's hard to swallow, but it really won't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really looking deeper within.
Yeah.
Can you share, what is your favorite strategy for surrendering?
Well, my favorite strategy is a 3-minute meditation that I suggest for everyone, a 3-minute surrendering stress meditation, so that you don't allow stress to build up in your body. That's very important throughout the day because everybody has busy lives, most people do. And so you take 3 minutes out where you stop everything, just 3 minutes, not any longer, and you take a few deep breaths, you drop into your body, out of your head, begin to focus on your heart, and then focus on whatever loving, positive thoughts that you have. And if the negative thoughts come by, picture them as floating by like clouds in the sky, not attaching. During this time, you could connect to spirit, if you feel this presence of spirit, to remember you're part of a larger universe, not Earth is a tiny speck in our solar system and beyond. And so you gain perspective. And then from that place, more relaxed, you go about your life. And I was asked, what is the most important health practice that I do that I couldn't give up? And that would be it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing today and helping us to surrender.
Oh, you're very welcome. I hope everyone can start practicing the surrender techniques and feel the bliss, and I mean bliss, that comes from it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Join us next time on New Connection Radio, your source for conscious living.